Oi pessoal, bem-vindos a mais uma sessão UXlab e hoje eu recebo aqui o Jonathan Courtney, ou simplesmente John. Ele é o CEO da AJ&Smart, uma agência em Berlim que ficou famosa por ter aprimorado, por ter criado a versão 2.0 do Sprint, originalmente escrito pelo Jake Knapp no Google, e o próprio Jake Knapp elogia muito a versão otimizada do Sprint desenvolvida pela AJ&Smart. Então hoje eu vou conversar com o John sobre essa versão otimizada do Sprint, saber dele algumas opiniões, aprender um pouco mais com ele, o que é um super privilégio. Então acompanhe essa conversa. Hey John, what's up? Welcome to UXlab. Thanks for being here today.
Hey Andre, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's a great honor to have you here to teach me more about design sprint process. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'm super excited to be here, and I love your YouTube channel. Even though I can't understand what you're saying in it, I love it.
That's nice. Thank you so much. So, John, I suppose that is the first time you are talking to a Brazilian audience. I mean, at least with the subtitles here in Portuguese. Would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, so my name is Jonathan Courtney. I'm the CEO of a product design studio called AJ&Smart. So we're a small studio here in Berlin, under 20 people. And what we do is we design products for all sorts of companies around the world. So, big organizations like the UN, but we also work and help train some of the biggest Silicon Valley tech companies as well. And yeah, we work on lots and lots of different types of things. And our the main process we're using is the design sprint process at the moment. So we work also directly with Jake Knapp, the author of Sprint, travel around the world, run design sprints, and train companies how to use them, basically.
Okay, that's nice. Sounds good. And I'd like to hear from you your explanation, that brief explanation about what is design sprint process.
So the design sprint process is a 1-week step-by-step system for bringing a group of people together to solve a big problem. And usually the outcome of that problem solving is a high fidelity prototype or something tangible that you can actually show people. So it's not like a vision document or something like that. It's like, here is the prototype, here is what it's actually going to look like. And then you test it with real users all within 1 week. It's a way to test really big ideas and validate business ideas, any types of ideas before putting the money into actually building them.
Nice. So just to recap, one day, John, you found this blue book right here, right?
We have like 1 million of them here in the office.
Yeah, I know. And then everything started. But since then, of course, it's not that easy. I mean, AJ&Smart came up with a new version of the design sprint, which is called Design Sprint 2.0, right? And this version is even endorsed by Jake Knapp, the author of this original book right here. So that said, I'm curious about the way, the path you went through to create this new version. When did you realize, for instance, that things could be better and work in 4 days instead of 5 days, as we see in the book?
So it wasn't, one day to the next, just being like, oh, that's the design sprint. This is the design sprint 2.0. For us, it was more that the sprint book is written mostly for startups and Google Ventures, where Jake wrote the sprint book. They were mostly working with startups who kind of, they were looking to get funding for Google Ventures. So they were willing to do the design sprint. They wanted to do the design sprint. And they kind of had to do the design sprint as well because GV was going to be giving them money. Our clients are, really big organizations like airlines and governments and all of this kind of thing. And they don't want to do it. They don't have the time to do it. And they don't really, have the time to block an entire week to work like this. So over time, we started to figure out the types of things that work for most companies and started to change the process as we did it over the last 2 years. And it's just been 2 years of tweaking the process that to make a system that really, it keeps all the principles of the original design sprint that Jake created. And a lot of the same exercises are there and the outcome is the same, but it's just less stressful and more robust and more repeatable as well.
Just one question. How did you decide what to keep and what to put left in the shorter version?
Actually, everything is still there. In fact, we added more things to it. The reason it's 4 days instead of 5 days is that a lot of the exercises from the original sprint book, for example, the map, one of the most tricky parts of the entire sprint is the map. The map lasts almost one entire day in the original sprint book.
Oh, I see.
In the design sprint 2.0, it's a 45-minute exercise. So we reduced, I mean, working with Jake and training companies on how to do this, we reduced the length of some of the exercises and made them easier to run.
John, correct me whether I'm wrong, but the design sprint itself uses the mindset of the design thinking process, right? But in a way that allows people not to space out a lot, you know? Am I right? I mean, design thinking relies on creativity and it's more open, let's say, than the design sprint process, which is more logic. So my question is, what is the biggest benefit of being logic and follow a predefined path while designing something new?
Okay, I'm going to answer that as two different questions. Number one, what's the difference between design thinking, design sprints? And number two, why stick to this? Why have a very strict system?
Yeah.
So number one, you're right. Design sprints are taking a lot of inspiration from design thinking. Design thinking is a philosophy. It's a way of working. It's also a toolkit of different types of exercises that you can use to be more user-centered in your approach to designing products or designing services or solving problems. The issue with design thinking is that when companies are given this toolkit and when companies are given this philosophy, they often don't know how to translate that into real actual work, into real actual products, into real change. And what the design sprint is it takes the philosophy and makes it into a step-by-step system that you can follow, and you don't have to guess what sort of things you need to use. Oh, do I need to do a persona? Oh, do I need to do a user journey? Oh, do I need to do this, that? No, you just follow the system and you don't have to think about the system. And the benefit of having a logical, cold process running in the background that almost disciplines you into doing the work step by step is that you can focus on the actual challenge, focus on the actual solutions, and not on the system, and not on every single, oh, should we do that exercise? Oh, should we do this exercise? Oh, do we need personas? Oh, how do you do personas? And now we have personas. Now, how do we use the personas to turn into features? You don't have to think about all that bullshit. Oh, sorry. You can just,
exactly. I understand. Yeah. And what do you like most about the process? I mean, what do you are most passionate about it?
For me, my favorite thing about the design sprint is this concept, this principle, which is called together alone. And it's the idea that in a lot of design thinking processes, it's about discussing. It's about everyone at the table sits around and they all discuss with each other, you know, oh, maybe we should do this. Oh, maybe we should do that. Oh, I saw this cool app yesterday. Maybe we should do something like this, but like this and this and this. And the design sprint process kills that completely and says that everybody sits in the room at the same time, but most of the work is done completely alone and also anonymously. And then later you vote on it, but you don't know who did the work, and everybody doesn't know what everybody else did. So it's like you have a lot more variety in the concepts. And also it allows shy people who are not great at sales pitches to get their ideas through to the end. And often it's these people who you just, in a lot of companies, these people don't want to have these discussions. They don't want to argue these ideas. They don't want to have these design arguments. But if you put them on their own and if you give them time to work on one challenge, they can come up with amazing things. So for me, the biggest benefit or my favorite part of the design sprint is this ability to work on a challenge in a group without having open discussion, only having very, very structured discussion. I hate open discussion. Open discussion makes everybody tired. There's no rules for open discussion. There's no end point for open discussion. And I think one of the reasons that a lot of companies are slow and don't manage to create products is because they spend months discussing and going in circles and nobody knows where anybody else stands. I don't know what this person's thinking. I don't know what this person's motivations are. With the design sprint, you get all of that out in a structured way. And yeah, I just love that. It's refreshing.
Yeah, it's fascinating, especially because sometimes the best ideas come from, let's say, from the recently hired novice person on the
Yes.
team, and he or she could be shy, right, in front of the boss, for instance.
That's literally exactly the thing that happens. We see that all the time. We will walk into a new company and one of the interns is going to be in the room. And it's like in the past, we would have been, you know for a fact that this intern is not going to say anything, is not going to put any ideas forward. But let's say if this intern actually does put an idea forward, the intern is not going to like fight for it, right? Because of course not, because it would be embarrassing for that person and they don't know where they stand. But if
Yeah.
everything is anonymous, and if they have time to work alone, and they also don't have to be embarrassed that they can try crazy stuff because nobody knows who did what. So they don't have to be embarrassed with, putting something stupid forward.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. It's fascinating. I agree with you. It's fantastic, this important issue in the design sprint. And John, you recently, not recently, actually, about a year ago, you wrote an article titled "User Research is Overrated." Yeah, I think that's it. And in which you agree that the design sprint process has revealed a huge waste of time and money in the research field, right? Could you briefly explain your thoughts on that?
A lot of companies. So first of all, I got in a lot of trouble for that article. Like you can
Yeah,
see, there's like
pretty
thousands.
controversial, right?
Yeah, there was like thousands of people commenting on it. I got thousands of tweets from really angry. A lot of like famous designers were really pissed off at me, and
Mhm.
because of this, I knew I was on the right path. Actually, when a lot of you know old designers get angry at you, you know that you're after touching on something that they actually know, but they don't
Mhm.
want to admit it because they don't want to lose their jobs.
Uh-huh.
So basically, the idea behind that article and something that we still think today at AJ&Smart is that a lot of companies, they build in user research to their products. Like they like say, oh yeah, when we're going to bring out this new product, let's do like a 3-month user research phase and make personas and like empathy and understand the user and blah 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 blah. But in real life, if you really look at the products that you use today, look at this thing we're recording it on right now, Zoom or Slack or Facebook or Instagram or anything that humans actually use, not just hypothetical products that you see on Kickstarter, but real products are often just starting off as a hunch by the designer or by the company. They say, oh, what if we use this technology to do this? And then they try it out, and then they iterate, and maybe after a little while, there's a product that people actually like to use and they figured out a way to sell it. But a lot of large design firms have convinced a lot of companies that the only way to make a product is by researching what people need and what people do and behaviors and empathize with the user and all of that. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that it's not always necessary, and that something like the design sprint can already help you get started. And there's research built in. There's an entire day of testing with real users built into it, but you actually test an idea with them. You test something that you can show them, not just, oh, what if we did this, this, and this? You actually get to show them the thing, that you get to test it, and you're testing just your assumptions. You're not testing what you think that they want. And I think there's also a danger in, this is a really common cliche thing to say, but there is a danger in trying to build products just based on what people want, because then you're never really making something special. You're never really I'm going to use the word innovative. You're not making something innovative when you're just looking at what people want and people's problems. Sometimes you just need to go and say, look, I think this is something that needs to come out into the world. But then importantly, using a system like the design sprint to validate it very quickly so that you don't spend a lot of money on your idea if it just sucks. So yeah, I think that one of the big things that we talk about here is that it's not that user research shouldn't be done, but especially at the very start of a new product, it's not necessarily the right approach. Once a product, let's say like Facebook today is like over 10 years old. Now is the time to do user research, to fix the granular problems, to improve very granular things. But in the
Mhm.
very beginning, hell no, there was no user research, there was no design thinking, there was no personas. It was all based on maybe we should try this in colleges. Oh, that was interesting. That worked. Now maybe we should do this. I think that there's just this weird, almost like weird, like religion around user research that is only being pushed from the design agencies and large companies. You know, a lot of the large companies like IBM, they're very vocal about their design thinking programs. And then of course, everyone else thinks that that's how you're supposed to do it. And I think that it's, if companies could think a little bit for themselves and use a bit more common sense, it is just common sense how these products are built in real life. I think a lot less money would be wasted.
I got it. And I read your article, and the title is kind of controversial, of course, and especially to the design community. But I agree. I think you are just explaining the power of the final step of the design sprint process, which is user testing, right? But John, don't you think that sometimes some people kind of underrated the user interview step? Because some people describe this step as something like super simple. However, interview users is something that requires some techniques and experience, right? Because it's not about what people say, as you explained before. It's also about how people behave and express themselves, right? And I guess that in AJ&Smart, you have some people focused in interviews, right? More than others in the team. How do you manage this final step of the design sprint?
It's a really great point, because a lot of companies, especially with design thinking, a lot of companies like me, let's say AJ&Smart a few years ago, we would go into a company, teach them design thinking tools, and then we would leave, and then we would just assume that they can use them. But of course, they don't know how to just naturally interview people. They don't know how to naturally build these things. And so that's one of the reasons. Yeah, it's extremely difficult. The thing with the design sprint, especially the version that we have today, Design Sprint 2.0, and Jake has done some amazing updates to how the user testing works. Even though you can be really, really good at it and you can be an expert, even as a total novice, it's really easy to get the results from the user testing within the design sprint, because it's a very simple step-by-step system. There's a guidance even in the book on how to interview people, the types of questions to ask, and how to collect the data from the user tests and then translate that into features. I think that it's like, for me, I think it is very true that user testing it's a skill, right? You need to understand how to do it. But for most companies, especially in the beginning, they don't need to be pros at it. They just need to force themselves to do it, essentially. That's really it. So I don't think it's, at AJ&Smart, it's a totally different story. Of course, we have someone whose 100% job is to just like build our whole user research, even though user research is overrated, but how we do user research at AJ&Smart, how to make that more efficient, how to hire better people to do it. But it's unsustainable. The way I think about it is that that's us as a service, but I only care about how real companies use this in real life, and it doesn't need to be perfect for it to work.
This is so cool, John. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot from you today. Thank you so much for your time. I know you are very busy. You are going to San Francisco soon, very soon, right?
The whole company, we're like, it's a crazy trip. We're going to be going New York, Portland, San Francisco, Mountain View, Cupertino, over the next 3 weeks. It's 4 weeks. It's going to be insane.
Wow. So thank you for your time once again.
No problem.
And how people watching this, John, can learn more about the design sprint process? Of course, they can read this book right here. That is a Portuguese version. I also know that Bruna Silva, the Brazilian product designer from AJ&Smart, will present a workshop in Brazil. It will be held in São Paulo and Rio, I guess, next month. And what else? What people can do to learn more about the design sprint process?
We have like over 100 hours of free design sprint content on our YouTube channel. All of the we keep adding exercises every week, all the updates. So our YouTube channel, and the second best thing, it would be my podcast with Jake Knapp, the author. It's a weekly podcast with the author of Sprint. We talk about product design, innovation, processes, and I think it's one of the only design podcasts that also is there for entertainment. It's not just, serious interviews and serious talks. It's also supposed to be something entertaining that you can listen to while you're while you're on your commute or doing your toilet.
No, it's very. I follow you there. I'm going to publish all information on the video description, John. Thank you so much for your time. See you.
Have a good one. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, let's go.
Is your name pronounced Andre?
Yeah, in English you can say Andre, no problem.
What would you say?
In Portuguese, sounds like Andrei. You see the R sound is
Andre.
Andrei, yeah.
Andre.
But you can, it's okay. You can say Andrei.
Okay.